You can draw this in Procreate. During this session, we are going to draw another girl. And if you have missed the previous ones we have made, then be sure to check those as well. Again, this tutorial will be super easy. I'm going to guide you through every single step so you don't need any experience with drawing or with Procreate. Just check these amazing results from previous tutorials. And of course, if you want to learn more after following this tutorial, or if you just want to support this channel, then you can join the Patreon community. And there you'll find even more Procreate tutorials. For this tutorial, all you need is a 2300 by 3000 pixels canvas set to sRGB. You'll need the color palette that I have linked in the description. And you'll need some free brushes that you can get through freefromflow.com. There I have a treasure chest full of brushes, color palettes, and an ebook about color theory. But now let's get started. The first thing we'll do is add a background color so it all looks a lot more cheerful. We'll go to the layer menu and we'll click background color and we'll pick this first color over here. And now we are going to use the monoline brush, which you can find under calligraphy. And for our color, we are going to use this color over here. That's the 5th color in the first row. And we are going to draw a circle. Just draw a circle, hold your pen in place and tap one finger on the screen to make it snap to a perfectly round circle. Then drag in the color to fill your circle. Now we are going to move it around a bit to make sure that it's in the center of our canvas. We'll go to the arrow over here and then make sure that you have snapping turned on here at the bottom, and also be sure to set it to uniform in case you want to resize your circle. And now when you move it around, you'll see that vertical orange line appear. Now here we have the horizontal center. I want to drag it up just a little bit to about here. And then once you have done that, you can click the arrow again to get out of the menu. Next, we are going to use the symmetry tool. You can turn that on by going to the wrench, then going to canvas, then turn on drawing guide, then click edit drawing guide. And then here at the bottom, you can set it to symmetry. Then just click done. And now whatever we paint on one side will also show up on the other side. Now let's zoom out just a little bit by pinching. Then start about here at the side of the circle and make a diagonal line. And you can hold your pen on the screen to make it snap to a quick shape. And go for a line that is about this long. And then make another line to the center. That's where the chin will be. Of course, you can adjust your lines a bit. You can go over them, fine-tuning it a little bit. But if you have something that looks a bit like this, then you're fine. Now you can drag in the color to fill the rest of the face. I feel like my head, or well, at least the head that I've just created, is a little bit long, so I want to squish it a bit. Let's go to the arrow up here and then set it to freeform. And I'm just going to drag this handle up only slightly. And then I'll click the arrow again. Now we are going to add a neck to our drawing. Let's create a new layer to do that. Let's click the plus for a new layer and drag that underneath our other layer. And let's turn on symmetry on this layer as well. You can do that by clicking the layer and then turning on drawing assist. And I'm going to grab a different brush. We'll go to the treasure chest brushes and use the round chalk brush. And for the color, we are going to use the 4th color in the first row. I have the opacity of the brush at 100% and the size is at 10%. Now let's start about here, go down, and then make a curve there at the bottom. And then you can actually color it in. You can make the brush bigger, like 40%. And we'll color that neck in until you have something that looks like this. Now we are also going to add the hair right now. We are going to start early with the hair. I thought that would be fun. Let's make a new layer on top of the head, on top of layer 1, then click the plus for a new layer. And for the color, let's grab this color over here, the third color in the first row. And we are going to create very easy stylized hair. We are going to make rounded motions on top of the head to give the suggestion of curls. To cover the top part, we can actually make the brush bigger. Let's go for 100%. To cover the top part, all the way to the sides. Then we'll make the brush smaller again, 30%. And then we'll make these little rounded shapes and cover that top part. Make some smaller and some bigger ones. And here on the side of the head. And on this side as well. So you get something like this. Now we'll make a new layer. We'll click the plus in the layer menu and we'll drag that layer underneath the others for the rest of the hair. We'll start about here and make these rounded motions here as well. That way we can go behind the face without covering it, because we don't want that. Let's start about here again. Right next to the cheek, to the jawline. And you can make the brush a little bit smaller, let's say 15% for some of these smaller curly shapes. And add some extra little detail there. For the next stage, we are going to sketch the face on top of our head that we just created. So let's create a new layer on top of layer 1. Let's click the plus and let's for now, just for a little bit, turn off the top part of that hair. And for the brush, let's use the chalk pencil brush, but you can use any brush for sketching, any one that you prefer. Now first I'm going to make a horizontal line on that circle that we have created in the beginning. And this will be about the horizontal center of that circle. By the way, I have the opacity of the brush at 100% and the size is at 45% right now. So we have that horizontal line right here, and now we'll want to find the center between the chin and this line, and I feel like that's about here. And now let's turn on that hair again, because we don't need to see the top of the circle anymore. Now this little dot here, that's the center of our nose, well, of the nose of our character. So let's make a little circle around it, and then right above the nose, you can make a little line going up or an imaginary line. This is where the eyes will start, the corners of the eyes. And you know, let's turn on symmetry. So we will only have to sketch this eye once. Click the layer, then turn on drawing assist. Then let's go over here and make an arch going out almost to the side, almost to that hair. An arch like this, and then we'll make another like arch the other way around and connect it over here, giving this character nice big eyes. Then right here on top we'll get the eyebrows. We'll follow that line a little bit, that horizontal line. And we might have a bit too much hair around the face. We can always remove that. You can always adjust that. That's no problem, of course. That's the great thing about working digital. You can easily fix things. Let's also add an iris. So we'll make a little circle inside of the eye, or not really a little circle. It's pretty big actually. Circle and a pupil, which should be in the center of the iris. And the upper eyelid. Will be a bit like this. And this is just a sketch, so it's nothing definitive. I want to make the nose a little bit lower, perhaps. It'll be about here. And now let's draw the mouth. I want to turn off drawing assist for now. Let's click the layer, turn off drawing assist, and let's create a smile. Let's create one corner of the mouth just below that pupil over here. And here as well, we'll make an imaginary line from the pupil here downward. We'll make a little line like this. And then we'll draw a curved line from one corner to the other. And then we'll make a curved line like this to the center, to that vertical line. And then another one almost to that corner of the mouth, but not entirely. A bit like this. And then another curved line underneath for that lower lip. Now, what if you're not happy with your sketch? If you want to adjust parts, that's very easy when using Procreate or when working digital in general. Let's use the selection tool. We'll go to the S shape ribbon, then select freehand. And for instance, let's select the nose. I want to make it a little bit smaller. Click this little circle to close your selection. Then you can go to the arrow tool. Make sure you set it to uniform. And then drag the handle to make it a little bit smaller. And then make sure you center it again. And place it about here. And now I want to do like the same thing with the eyes. I'll make a selection of both eyes and I want to lower them a little bit. We'll select them, then go to the arrow tool. And then you can move them down just slightly. And that way, by using the selection tool and the move tool, the move and transform tool, you can easily tweak your sketch. Now let's continue. Let's lower the opacity of this sketch. We can click the N right next to the layer, the name, which is just layer 5. We can lower the opacity. Let's go to 40%. And then let's make a new layer between layer 1 and layer 5. So first click layer 1, then click the plus for a new layer. And let's turn on drawing assist so we can use symmetry. Now for the brush, we are going to use the round chalk brush. And for the color, we are going to use this second color over here in the second row. And the first thing we'll do is create the white of the eye. And we'll use our sketch as a guide. So follow those lines and just fill that shape. And I like the round chalk brush because it has a nice chalky texture. I want a nice chalky textured portrait here. A bit as if it's hand drawn. So just follow the shape. And the underside. And if you need to erase parts from this, if you're going too far with your white, then I would suggest clicking and holding the eraser icon to switch your eraser to the round chalk as well. When you erase, you'll get that same textured edge, and that'll just make it look better. Alright, now we are going to add a little bit of shadow to this white of the eye, and we'll do that by clicking the layer and then turning on alpha lock. So whatever we paint, it'll only show up on the white of the eye. But if you are a frequent watcher of You Can Draw This tutorials, then you probably already know this. Let's go to the third color in the second row. And now let's go over the top area of the eye. We'll just follow that curve and add a little bit of shadow there, because the light is coming from above and the lower eyelid is casting a shadow on the white of the eye. And that shadow will be even darker closer to that upper eyelid. So let's grab this color, the fourth color in the second row. And let's add an even darker shadow here at the top. Now, it's not entirely tidy here on the iris, but we are going on top of that anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Now let's create a new layer on top of this one. We'll go to the layer menu, click the plus, and again, let's turn on drawing assist so we have symmetry turned on. And for our color, we are going to use this color over here. That's the sixth color in the second row. And let's create the iris. Let's draw a circle, hold your pen in place, then tap one finger on the screen. And you can use edit shape to move it around a bit. I think this is the correct placement. Now to make sure that it's only showing up on that white of the eye, you can click the layer and then turn on clipping mask. Now you can see that it's not covering that upper eyelid anymore. Let's make the brush a bit bigger, 35%. And let's color the iris in. Now I want to add a little bit of light, some light touches to the iris. Let's pick this color to do that. That's the seventh color in the second row. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller, perhaps 8%. And let's add these little lines going outwards from the center of the eye. And it'll still give a little bit of that texture, of that chalky texture. You can also make the brush even smaller, 2%. And to make sure that you won't go outside of the iris, you can click the layer and turn on alpha lock. Now these pixels are locked and you can draw outside only on the circle. So just some of these like radial lines towards the center. And then let's go back to the darker color. That's the sixth color in the second row. Make the brush a little bit bigger again, 13%. And let's add a darker outline. Just like this. Just go over the edge. And now let's add a little shadow on the eye. We'll use this color for that. That's the fifth color in the second row. And we'll follow that line that we just created on the white of the eye. And add a little bit of shadow on the iris as well. Now for the pupil, we'll make a new layer again. We'll click the plus for a new layer, click that new layer and turn on drawing assist. So we will only have to make one pupil. Let's pick this color, that first color in the second row. And let's draw a circle again. You can hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen, and go to edit shape. And make sure that it's centered. And then grab the brush and fill it. Now let's also add some highlights. We will turn off drawing assist first on this layer. Click the layer, turn off drawing assist, because we don't want symmetry when it comes to highlights. When the light is coming from a certain direction, for example like this, the highlight on this eye will be about here, and on this eye it will be about here. So you can't mirror those. Now for the color, let's grab this color over here, that last color in the second row. And now let's add these highlights. One over here, perhaps a bigger one over here, and some more transparent ones here, small ones, and a little one here. And we'll do the same thing on the other eye. So it'll look pretty much the same. So one over here, small one next to it, then a bigger one. One here, and a small one over here. So they look quite similar. Now, once you are happy with the eyes, you can actually merge all of these layers and keep things organized. Now we are going to create a new layer on top of the sketch layer. So first click layer 5, then click the plus for a new layer. And then for the color, let's grab this first color in the second row. Now first, let's make the brush pretty small. Let's go for 2%. And let's not forget to turn on symmetry on this layer. Let's click the layer, turn on drawing assist so symmetry is turned on. And now let's make a little outline for the eye. As if we are adding mascara, just follow your sketch line. And of course, you can rotate your canvas to make it easier on yourself to make that movement. Go to the corner of the eye. And right there, we are going to add a bit like a cat eye thingy. Not sure what it's called. And then we'll go down, follow this lower line. Just go over that lower eyelid. And try to make the upper eyelid line, make that a little bit thicker than the lower eyelid line. So you got something like this. Now let's make the brush even smaller, 1%. And then add a couple of eyelashes. Not too many, just a few of these curves. And make them a little bit shorter as you move to the left. The most prominent eyelashes are usually on the outside. And as you move towards the corner of your eye, you have less eyelashes. They are usually shorter, less prominent. And then just a few on the lower eyelid. You usually have less eyelashes there, and they are also shorter, less prominent. So you get something that looks like this. Now let's also work on the eyebrows. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger first, 10%. And let's follow that sketch that we have created. And I'm imagining that I'm painting or drawing very thick hairs here, following that shape of the eyebrow. So slowly build your way towards the outside. And to add a little bit of extra, you can also use the fine liner brush, which is also part of the treasure chest brush pack. I have the opacity of this brush at 100% and the size is at 15%. And now let's add some individual hairs, make them stick out at the top, follow that curve. And you can also add a little bit of hairs here on the outer edge and some on the underside, adding some extra touches. Now we'll stick with the fine liner brush for some extra lines, for example around the nose and for the mouth. Let's grab a lighter color though. Let's grab this color, this last color in the first row. Now first, let's use this little oval shape that we have created for the nose and follow it and make a little rounded line on the outside. And then for the nostrils, we'll start about here, just right of that nostril. Then we'll make a little curved line like this. And since we have symmetry turned on, we only have to do it once and we'll get a nice symmetrical nose. Then for the mouth, we are going to turn off symmetry. So we'll go to the layer menu first, click the layer, and then click drawing assist to turn it off. And we are just going to follow the sketch line that we have created. First, I'll do the corners of the mouth, and then we'll follow this line. that slight smile. And I also want to add a little outline to the face to give it some extra definition. Let's turn on symmetry for that. Let's go to layer 7 again, turn on drawing assist, because this time both sides will look the same. It's not like with the lips. So let's just follow that line all the way to here, to the side of the face, and of course here around the chin. There. I also want to give her a little beauty mark. Let's turn off drawing assist for that again. We're continuously turning it on and off. And let's add a little beauty mark over here. And now we are going to start working on shading the face. Let's lower the opacity of the sketch some more. Let's go for 10%. And now let's go to layer 1 and let's turn on alpha lock. Let's click the layer, turn on alpha lock so we won't be painting outside of the face. And let's just go to the round chalk brush. And for the color, let's grab this color over here. That's the 8th color in the first row. And let's make the brush a bit bigger. Let's go for 50% and let's add some shadow underneath the eyebrows. Because the eyebrows, they are blocking the light a bit, causing a shadow to appear there. And we'll also need a little bit of shadow underneath the nose. Let's make the brush smaller, 25%. And let's add a little bit of shadow here. Now let's turn off drawing assist. Click layer 1, turn off drawing assist. Then go to the colors and grab this color over here. That's the 9th color in the first row. And let's add an even darker shadow just underneath the nose. You can also darken these areas a little bit, add even more shadow underneath the eyebrows, but follow that curve of the eye. And now for the lighter shades, let's start with this one over here. That's the 6th color in the first row. And let's grab a different brush. Let's use the dark noise brush. Let's make the brush, let's set it to 100% opacity and let's set the size to 40%. And let's add some light to the forehead, for example. And we'll go down over the nose, which is also catching some light, and these cheeks. They can also use some light. And I'm not using the symmetry tool here to just add some variety in the face. Add some light to the chin. And I want to make the brush a bit smaller. Let's go for 15% and grab the even lighter color. That's the 7th color in the first row. And let's lighten up this area, for example. That's catching the most light, the top part of the cheek. And on this side as well. And the nose is also hit by light. And like I said, that chin. You can also vary with the brush. You can also use the spackle lip brush. The opacity of the brush is at 90%. And the size is at 20%. And with this brush, you can add a little bit of extra texture to the cheeks, for example. Add even more light there. To the nose. And to the forehead. And now let's work on the lips. Let's use the round chalk brush for that. Let's first grab this color. That's the 3rd color in the 3rd row. We'll use that color for the upper lips. You can follow your sketch lines if you can still see them. Otherwise, you'll need to turn up the opacity of the sketch layer again. So follow those lines and color it in. Then we'll make the lower lips a little bit lighter. We'll use the fourth color in the third row. And again, follow those sketch lines. Color in the lips. Now I want to give them a little outline. For the upper lip, I'll use this second color in the third row. Let's make the brush smaller, 2%. And let's follow that outline, giving her some lip liner. Then we'll do the same thing for the lower lip. And let's use the third color for that. Again, follow the line, follow the edge. And give her some lip liner. Now for a little extra touch, I'll go back to the second color in the third row. Make the brush just a little bit bigger, 5%. I'll add a little bit of shadow to the lower part of the top lip. And the top lip, it's darker because, well, there's shadow there. Since the light is coming from the top, there's shadow on the upper lip and light is hitting that lower lip. So let's add a little bit of light. Let's use the fifth color in the third row and add a little bit of gloss here. We'll make a little oval over here and a slight circle right next to it, making her lips look slightly glossy. Now for some eyeshadow, let's go back to the dark noise brush. And for the color, let's use this color over here. That's the 8th color in the second row. And let's also turn on Drawing Assist again. So click the layer, turn on Drawing Assist so we can use symmetry, and we will only have to add that eyeshadow once. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller. Let's go for 6%. And let's just follow that edge all the way to the outside. And a little bit here in that corner of the eye. And for some extra sparkle, you can use the spackle brush. Let's make it pretty small, 7%. And let's go over the area with the spackle brush as well to add a little bit of extra texture. Now let's add some shadow to the neck. And let's also turn off the sketch layer. We don't need it anymore. Let's go to the neck layer, layer 2, click it and turn on alpha lock. And let's also turn off Drawing Assist. We don't need symmetry here. Let's go to the round chalk brush. And for the color, let's use this color over here. That's the last color in the first row. Let's make the brush pretty big, 30%. And let's add a little shadow underneath the neck. Because that face, it's casting a shadow here. Let's make the brush even bigger. Let's go for 70%. And we can also lighten the lower part a little bit. We'll pick that 5th color over here in the first row. And let's go over the lower area a bit, adding some light there. Let's also give our character 2 ears. Let's do that on this layer, on layer 2. Let's first turn off alpha lock, because otherwise we will only be able to paint on the neck. And let's turn on symmetry. So we'll have to turn on Drawing Assist. For the color, let's grab this 4th color in the first row. Now let's make the brush a little bit smaller. Let's go for 10%. And at the same height as the nose, let's make a little ear over here. Then we'll turn on alpha lock on this layer. So click it, turn on alpha lock. We'll grab the lighter color again, the 5th color. And we'll just lighten up the lower part of that ear a little bit. Now I want to give our character some earrings. We are going to do that on a layer that is above this one. This is fine actually. We'll create a layer right here. Let's click the plus for a new one. Let's turn on drawing assist so we can use symmetry. And for the brush, let's use the fine liner brush. And for the color, we are going to use this 2nd color in the 1st row. We're going to start here on the ear and make a straight line going down. And hold your finger on the screen to make it snap to a perfectly vertical line. Now on a new layer, we are going to add 2 shapes. Let's click the plus for a new layer. Then let's go to the round chalk. We'll still be using this color. Let's make the brush a bit bigger. Let's go for 40%. Let's make a circle here. Hold your pen in place, step 1 finger on the screen, and then color it in so that you get that nice texture. Then we are going to use the eraser. Click and hold the eraser to make it snap or to make it switch to the round chalk brush. And then you can erase the part. Again, you can use the quick shape tool here. Hold your finger on the screen as you hold your pen on the screen. And you can actually also use edit shape and move it around. And then use the eraser to erase the rest. Open it up a little bit here. And of course we will need to erase that part. Let's go back to layer 8. And then erase that lower part. Then make a new layer again, click the plus. We'll still be using the round chalk, but we'll make it a little bit smaller. Let's go for 10%. And first make like a little roof here. You can use edit shape. Move it around, then click the brush again. And then make this type of shape. It's like an arrow point. And it's the beginning of a star shape that we will create. Then make a horizontal line like this. Or at least it looks a bit horizontal. I'm not sure if it's totally horizontal. But we're making a very simple star shape here. And you can adjust it a little bit as you go. Doesn't have to be perfect. And of course, since it's on a separate layer, you can use the move tool by clicking the arrow and move it around. If it's not working with you, then you can turn off snapping. Sometimes snapping is really annoying. There. Then click the arrow again. Now I feel like our moon shape here is a little bit too big compared to our star shape. We can make the star shape a little bit bigger. I'll make the brush smaller, 4%. We can make this a little bit bigger, but we can also make our moon shape a little bit smaller, of course. Or we can do a little bit of both. Now, I feel like making this star a little bit bigger has already brought some balance. Let's just move it down slightly like that. Click the arrow again. You can just tweak it a little bit like that. I'm sure your star will probably look better than mine over here. It sure looks a little bit wonky, but that's okay. We can have a wonky star. Now let's add a little bit of light as if these earrings are glowing. Let's add a little bit of light to the face. We will use the dark noise brush for that. And for the color, let's use this brighter, more saturated blue. And then let's just go over the chin area and the jawline. And add a little bit of this blue glow. Give some more interest to our face, or well, to the face of the girl we are drawing. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger. Let's go for 15% to make the glow even bigger. And let's do the same on the neck. Alpha lock is already turned on, so we are safe. Let's add some glow over here on the sides of the neck. And then finally, let's do the same thing for the hair. Let's go to this hair layer, the lower one, click it, turn on alpha lock, and then go over these lower sides and add a little bit of glow there as well with the dark noise brush. All along the edges. Oh, and just a final little touch, you can add a little bit of shadow on the face, the shadow that is created by the hair. We can do that on a separate layer. Let's just make a new layer on top of layer 1, click the plus, set it to multiply, click the N, scroll up to multiply, and then let's use the round chalk brush. And for our color, we are going to use this color over here, the 5th color in the 1st row, and then we'll just follow the hair. Let's make the brush a bit bigger, 25%. We'll follow that hair, these same shapes, casting a shadow on the face. Focus on the top area, add shadow there. And it's a little bit too much, so let's turn down the opacity, go to the layer, click the M, and then use the slider and set it to 60%. And now finally, to enjoy your result, let's turn off that drawing assist line. Let's go to the wrench, turn off the drawing guide. And now we can really look at the lovely girl that we have just created. You are finished. I hope you have enjoyed following this You Can Draw This video tutorial. Do be sure to let me know if you did and share your work on social media. Don't forget that if you share your work on Instagram, then you need to tag me in the image, not just in the description, because that way I will be able to find your work and then perhaps we'll see it in the next You Can Draw This video tutorial. I would like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, because I believe that 60% of you isn't subscribed and still you're watching. So if you never want to miss another video again, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.